Hello soulmates, it is an absolute pleasure to have you once more again on my channel. If this is your first time checking out my channel, please consider subscribing because on this channel I teach you how to do simple DIY fashion right there at your home. Today I'll be showing you how to make a tube top, a bustier tube top or a strapless top. So in order to get this project going, you will need your basic bodice pattern. So here I have my basic bodice pattern, and I have the back and also the front. If you do not know how to draft a basic bodice pattern, I'm going to put a link in the description box so that you will know where to find it. Alright, so let's get started. So here I have my front bodice, and I'm gonna put my back bodice away. So in order to get started, the first thing you'll have to do is to put your bust separation measurement. In this case, mine is 4 inches, and so you may be wondering what these lines are. So this is my shoulder line to my chest line, my shoulder to my bust point, my shoulder to my under bust, this is very important, and then my shoulder to my waist. And then I have my seam allowance there. So this pattern is drawn up to the half length from my shoulder to my waist measurement. You can make this into a full top, but I'm just going to show you the concept tonight. So the first thing you're going to do on your waistline, you're going to put your nipple to nipple measurement. Mine is 4 inches, but I'm going to treat this as if I'm drawing on my fabric. So I'm going to put ½ inch for seam allowance. I'm also going to put that at my bust point line. And I'm going to draw a line downwards. After I do that, I'm going to also find the midpoint of my shoulder line. Mine is 4 inches, so half of that is 2 inches. And I'm going to take this 4 inches and I'm going to draw it down to my bust point area. Like this. Okay. So now when you have that, you're going to first find your bust radius. What is my bust radius? Your bust radius is the distance from the bust point line to your under bust line. So in this case, mine is 3.5 inches. So you're going to note that measurement. So what you're going to do from the bust point line, you're going to find 3.5 inches all the way around. So I'm going to rotate my tape measure to find that 3.5 inches, and I'm going to do that all the way around because I want to know where I would put my dart at the top. Okay, this is 3.5 inches. If you have a compass, this will turn out better because you'll have a perfect circle, but I don't have a compass, so I'm just doing it all the way around. So I'm marking 3.5 inches. Okay, so I'm doing this all the way around my bust area, my bust point area. Okay, so now that you've determined your bust radius, which is this, then this is where you're going to put your dart. But before we put our darts there, before you put your darts here, you're going to go to your waist measurement. Okay, and you're going to put your dart intake. So in this case, I'm going to put 1/2 inch on this side and 1.5 inches on that side, and you know that's gonna make 2 inches. So at the underbust area, remember I tell you to go in a 1/4 inch more, so I'm gonna go in a 1/4 inch, 3/4 inch on this side, and this is going to be, on this side is going to be 1.75, and I'm going to connect this line here. Just gonna take this line all the way down to my bust. Okay, so when you do that, to ease this area, you're going to go down maybe 3/4 inch to 1 inch. I'm gonna go down 1 inch, and you're also gonna go up 1 inch from the bust point area. Okay, and you're going to connect these 2 lines here. Okay. There you are. So now at this line here, you're going to put 1 inch on this side, right where the bust radius is now. You're going to put 1 inch on this side and also 1 inch on the other side. Okay, and then you're going to connect these lines here. You could take it all the way down to your bust area at this point. I think I'll do that. I'm going to take this all the way down instead of stopping, since I went down there 1 inch. So this is what you're going to have. Okay, so now you did your dart intake. You'll see that this is formed. So you're going to take your curved ruler, and you're going to blend this up so that it has this nice shape. So now you'll see that the darts here are actually formed. So now if you want a sweetheart neckline, you could take your French curve and you could make a curve like this here. Okay, like that. And on this point, you're just going to blend up this area like this to the armhole measurement. So you're going to just blend this up to the armhole measurement like this. Or you could use your French curve and make that curve a little bit smoother like this. Okay, so here you have the curve drawn. Okay, your curve for the top part of the bustier. But there are some persons who do not like their bust to expose. So if you're that type of person who doesn't want your bust to expose, you could go up, and I'm going to use a different color for this one. You could go up 1 inch. Okay, so I'm using the purple here, and you're going to just draw this line upwards like this. Okay, okay, okay. So now you're going to have this here, and then you're just going to connect this as you did. Okay, and then you're going to blend this up like this to the armhole measurement. Okay, but ensure that you have the same amount of dart right here. Sure that you have the same amount of dart. So I'm just gonna blend this up like that. So there you have your measurements. Okay, so now what you're going to do is that you're going to put your measurements along your body. So at my chest area, I'm going to put my bust measurement. So my bust is 10.5. Okay, and I'm going to add 1 inch of seam allowance, that's 11. And then I will have to add back these darts. So I put 1 inch on both sides, right? Ensure that this is 1 inch on both sides. So I'm going to add that back, plus 1 inch to sew it together. So that's going to be 3 inches. Okay, and that's right here. And then 1 inch for side seam allowance. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my waist. My waist is going to be 34 inches. That is 8.5, plus this 2 inch dart. That's 10.5, plus 1 inch to sew it together, 11.5, plus 1 inch for side seam allowance. And then I'm going to connect this line here. Okay, I'm going to connect this line right here. Okay, and there you have it. This is your tube top. If you want it on this line, you're going to cut it out, but if you want it on this line here, you just blend this up to the armhole like that. Okay, and ensure that this is blended properly. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cut this out. Okay, so this is what you're going to have. So this is the left side. So this is what you will supposed to have for your, so when you sew this together, it's gonna come up like that. Okay, so now for the back. So for the back, it's going to be very, very easy to do. So all you have to do is I draw my shoulder to my chest line, and then my shoulder to my waist. And then I imputed my dart at 4.5 inches, okay? Because I'm gonna cut it out. So all you're going to do is that you're going to impute your chest measurement here. So remember I did 11.5, okay? So I'm gonna put 11.5 here, but then I'm going to cut this through. So I'm gonna add 1 more inch. That will be 12.5, plus my side seam allowance 11.5. Okay. Then at my waist is gonna be 8.5, 8.5. That's here. Then I'm gonna cut this out. So that's gonna be 9.5, plus to sew it together 10.5 plus 1/2 inch for side seam allowance 11.5. And I'm going to connect this. And I'm going to connect this here. Okay, So at the back area, you can choose to go down from the chest line if you want it to be curved, maybe about 1 inch, and then you're going to connect it there all the way down. Okay, so I'm gonna use my curve and I'm going to connect it give it a slight curve. Okay, like this. Okay, and then you're going to connect it to the seam line, and this is basically it. So I'm going to label this 1, 2, so I know which is which. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it out. And this here is going to be 2. So this is what you will have for the back. So this is very easy to do. So all you have to do is that you're going to put it on your fabric and you're going to cut it out and sew it together. So if you find this video helpful, do not forget to give me a giant thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the post notification bell so you'll be notified each time I make a video. Until we meet again, I'll see you in the next one.